Assalamu alaikum. In previous unit, we have studied about the moment concept and the formula that how we can calculate the moment of force. Before we study or before we understand the concept of principle of moments, we have to understand the concept of center of mass of the body. There are two words which usually we are using, the center of mass and the center of gravity. As far as O-level syllabus is concerned, more or less we are assuming that center of mass is the same as center of gravity. Whenever we are going to consider a body, let's suppose if we are considering a body, then definitely this body consists of particles, and earth attracts these particles towards its center, and that force is called as weight. So weight is a force with which earth attracts the bodies towards its center. So on each and every particle, earth is exerting the force. In which direction? In downward direction. So in each and every body, there is a single point where the net forces of the body act vertically downward. This diagram shows that on each particle, weight of the body is being applied, or earth is attracting each particle towards its center. So in each and every body there is a single point on which the sum of all the forces are acting vertically downward, and this point is called as center of mass or center of gravity. In order to find the center of mass or center of gravity, we have to balance the body on some pivot or some sharp point or some sharp edge. Different bodies has different center of gravity. Regular bodies has center of gravity as their center of symmetry, and in order to find the center of gravity of irregular body, we will perform an experiment and will calculate or will find its center of gravity. Let's suppose if I am having this stick in my hand, then when I am going to balance this stick, is it balanced? No. It is moving in this direction, so it means more weight is acting in this direction as compared to other direction. Now it is being balanced? No. So these 2 points cannot be its center of gravity. But when I am moving this stick on my finger acts like a pivot, then at this point the stick is now being balanced. So this point, now let's see, if I am moving my finger up and down, it is still balanced. So this point is called its center of gravity or center of mass. Likewise, if I am having this ball point in my hand, I am going to balance it. Is it balanced? No. So this will be not its center of gravity. Is it balanced? No. This can never ever be its center of gravity. Now gradually I am going to balance this ball point. Now look this. So is it balanced? Yes. So the point where it is balanced is called its center of gravity or center of mass. Another example which we will consider, this is the duster, this is the razor. Now I am going to balance it. Is this center of gravity? No. Is this center of gravity? No. Now I am going to balance it on my finger. Now, is it balanced? Yes. So I can feel the weight of the duster on my finger. So this point will be its center of gravity. So the concept of center of gravity is now clear. So center of gravity is the point at which the whole weight of the body appears act vertically downward. Now we will find the method with which we can find the center of mass of a plane lamina. In order to find the center of gravity of a plane lamina, I have considered an irregular object. I have drilled 3 holes at different places, and I will mark these holes A, B and C. So in this way, at different places I have drilled 3 holes and named these holes A, B and C. Then I have made a plumb line. Plumb line is a device which is a mass at one end, and the other end thread is being tied up with it. So this will act as a plumb line. So plumb line is used by the builders to make sure the walls are straightened like that. So I will use this plumb line and this plane lamina to find the center of gravity. Okay, in first step what I will do, I will hang this plane lamina on a nail or on a support and will let it to rotate till it stops. Okay, now when it will stop, I will hang plumb line over here. Now by using the scale, I will draw a line with this thread along the thread of the plumb line. Make sure that both plumb line and the plane lamina are in the state of rest. So I will mark a line over here with the thread of the plumb line. Now I will change the hole. Initially it was hang from the hole A. Now what I will do, I will hang it from hole B. Let it rotate, and when we will hang plumb line, when it will come in state of rest. Okay, now it's in state of rest. Now I will again hang the plumb line over here. As plumb line is stationary as well, again I will place a line, vertical line, along with the thread of the plumb line. So the point where these two lines intersect with each other, now you can see initially it was hanged through the point A, then I have changed it and then hanged it through the point B. I have drawn the 2 lines from point A and point B, and the point where these 2 lines intersect each other, this point is called its center of gravity. In order to verify that this point is its center of gravity, I will hang that plane lamina on the tip of my finger from that point, and it is now suspended without any rotation. So in this way we can find center of gravity or center of mass of plane lamina. Now there are 2 more points which you must keep in your mind, that if we are having a regular bodies, like if this is a sphere, then its center of gravity will be its center or intersection of the diagonals of the square. If this is a circle, then its center of gravity will be its center. If it is a triangle, then its center of gravity will be intersection of medians of triangle. And if there is a uniform rod, then its center of gravity will be here. So regular bodies have center of gravity at their center of symmetry, and in order to find the center of gravity of irregular body, we can use the plumb line with which we can find their center of mass or center of gravity. So I hope that now you might understand that how we can find the center of gravity of plane lamina by using plumb line. The next part of this topic, that how we can verify the principle of moments. Sometime in papers a question is being asked that how we can verify the principle of moment or write down the experimental steps to verify the principle of moments. So in order to verify the principle of moments, we will consider the following steps. First of all, we will consider a uniform rod. Find center of gravity or center of mass. In order to find the center of mass or center of gravity, we will place this rod on a sharp edge of the nail, and the point where it will be balanced, this will be its center of gravity. So this point at which it is balanced is its center of gravity. So first step, that we will find the center of gravity of the body. Number 2, place the body on a pivot. So in diagram I will draw a pivot over here, and for demonstration I will consider my finger as a pivot because it will be easy to demonstrate. So first step, to find the center of gravity of the rod. Second step, place the rod on a pivot at its center of gravity. Now it is being balanced. Third step, hang the weights on both sides. Hang the weights on both sides. Since I have no access to the lab due to the corona, so I have made my own weights. I have considered 2 clips, 2 hooks, and I will assume that one will be equals to 1 Newton. So it's mean that the total weight being hanged will be 2 Newton. And on the other side, I will also considering 2 hooks, so 2 Newton. So I will hang 2 Newton on both sides at different distances. And I will again place the body from its center of gravity at pivot. Now you can see, is it being balanced? No. Okay, now what I will do, that I will fix the position of one of the weight, and I will move another weight towards the pivot. Since it is moving in this direction downward, so I will decrease its distance. Now it is moving on this side, so I will increase the distance. will make them stable. Now look, you can see that I have hanged two weights on both sides and again place the rod on the pivot, and now it is again being balanced. So I will consider one weight as W1, or one we can say force F1, and other weight as W2 or force F2. Then this distance between F1 and the pivot will be D1, and this distance between F2 and pivot will be D2. So now it is being balanced. Number 4, balance the rod once again. Okay, I have assumed that this will be F1, this will be F2, the perpendicular distance from the point where it was hanged to the pivot was D1, and the perpendicular distance of the force 2 or the weight 2 from the pivot is D2. Now apply the formula F1 D1 is equals to F2 D2. So this is the equation which verifies the principal moment. So if there is a clockwise movement on right side, then definitely we will consider anti-clockwise movement on right side. Or if there is an anti-clockwise movement on left side, then there will be a clockwise movement on right side. So in this way we can verify the principle of moment by applying the formula F1 D1 is equals to F2 D2. Now I will explain the principle of moment by different examples. First of all, I will consider two equal masses at different distances, then one other example with two different weights, then third example, three weights being balanced on the meter rod. Okay, now I will verify the principle of moment by considering two equal weights, and we will learn that how we can verify the principle of moment. I have assumed, or I have considered a rod whose length was equal to 60 centimeter. Since this rod is of uniform thickness, so definitely its center of gravity will be at 30 centimeter. Okay. I have hanged 2 Newton weight over here and 2 Newton weight over here. So I will place, it is not being balanced, so let me move the distance. Okay, and then here. Now I am going to balance it. Okay, yes, now it is being balanced. So now we will apply the formula in order to verify the principle of moments by two equal weights. Now can you see that the distance on both sides will be the same? The reason is that weight hanging on both sides are of same value. 2 Newton is on the left side and 2 Newton is on the right side. Then perpendicular distance from pivot will be also same. So apply these values over here. F1 was 2 Newton, F2 was 2 Newton, D1 was 10 centimeter, D2 was also 10 centimeter. So apply principal moment over here. F1 D1 is equals to F2 D2. 2 into 10 is equals to 2 into 10. 20 Newton centimeter is equal to 20 Newton centimeter. Now you can see, you can check that after applying the principal moment, the value on the left side for the moment of force is 20 Newton centimeter, as well as on the right side is also 20 Newton centimeter. Usually in exams or in papers, out of 4 parameter, values of 3 parameters are given. So we will check how we can find the missing value. Let's suppose F1 is equal to 100 Newton, D1 is equal to 20 centimeter, D2 is equals to 10 centimeter. We have to find the value of F2. Apply the formula over here. F1 D1 is equals to F2 D2. Putting value over here, F1 is equal to 100, D1 is equal to 20, F2 was supposed to be missing, and D2 was 10 centimeter. When we will multiply 10 F2, 10 is being multiplied over here, on the other side it will be divided. So F2 is equals to 2000 over 10, then F2 will be equal to 200 Newton. Now from these two examples you can check or you can verify that if weights are equal, which were hanged on both sides, then their perpendicular distance from pivot will be also the same. When I have hang 2 Newton on both sides, then the distance from the pivot for both of the weights will be 10 centimeter. But in this example, if force was 100 Newton, then perpendicular distance was 20 centimeter. Now the answer of the missing quantity was 200 Newton. It means that as compared to F1, F2 becomes double. When F2 becomes double, then distance becomes half. So distance was for F1 D1 was 20 centimeter, but for F2 distance will be 10 centimeter. So if a fat man is sitting on one side on the seesaw and a smart boy like me is sitting on the other side of the seesaw, then I have to sit at the far away distance from the pivot, and the fat man will sit nearer to the pivot in order to balance this smart boy. So I hope that you got the idea that how we can calculate or how we can verify the principal of moment if two equal weights are being hanged. Now I will demonstrate another example in which I will consider two different weights. Okay, now we will verify the principal moment by using two unequal weights. I have considered 2 Newton over here. These are the two hooks, and I have considered 1, 2, 3 and 4 hooks over there. So 4 Newton weight is over here. Okay, let me balance it. Initially I will place these two weights on equal distance and we will try to balance now. So it means I have to increase the distance from the 2 Newtons weight. Okay. Now you can see that more distance is being covered on the weight whose value was lesser, and lesser distance will be covered by the weight whose value was larger. So from the pivot on this side, more distance will be there, and on this side less distance will be there. So this was of 2 Newton and this was of 4 Newton. So 5, 10, 15, 20. So 20 centimeter will be here, and 5 and 5, 10 centimeter will be here. So now we will apply the values over here and will calculate or verify the principle of moments. Okay, so 2 Newton and 4 Newton, F1 2 Newton, F2 4 Newton, D1 20 centimeter, D2 10 centimeter. Now apply the principal moment over here. F1 D1 is equals to F2 D2. 2 into 20 is equals to 4 into 10. So 40 Newton centimeter, 40 Newton centimeter. So in this way we have verified the principle of moments when two different weights are being hanged on opposite sides of a rod. Larger the weight, smaller the distance from pivot, smaller the weight, larger the distance from pivot. Okay, now I will explain another example by considering three different weights, two on one side and one on another side. Now we will verify the principle of moment by hanging two weights on one side and one weight on the other side. So how many total weights are now being hanged? Three weights. So these are the two hooks. It's mean that 2 Newton will be there. These are the two hooks, 2 Newton will be there, and these are 4 hooks. So 4 Newton will be here. Okay, I am now going to check whether are these balanced or no. These are not balanced. So I will try to balance them by placing them at different places, and we'll check that now whether these are balanced or not. Okay, I will place it from the pivot. No, still it's mean I have to move this weight outward. Okay, I will move it outward, and now we'll try to hang on the pivot. Okay, now you can check it is being balanced. Little bit adjustment is required. Okay, now it is being balanced. So two weights are there. These two weights are of 2 Newton, and on this side 4 Newton weight is being hanged. So this will be D1, this will be from pivot to this point, this will be D2. This can never ever be D2 because distance will be always calculated from pivot, and this will be D3. So W1, W2, W3. Force 1, force 2, force 3, 2 Newton and 4 Newton. This distance will be D1, and from pivot to the hanging point this distance will be D2, and this distance will be D3. Now I will apply the values over here. So 10 centimeter, you can see the black mark, 5 and 5, 10 and 5 and 5, 10 and 10, 20 centimeter here and 15 centimeter here. So I will write the values over here. F1 2 Newton, F2 2 Newton, F3 4 Newton. Okay, now I will going to balance it. This distance can never ever be D1. D1 will be always distance from pivot to that point. So usually this was a general mistake which was being done by the students, that they always assume this distance as D1. Okay, so D1 was 20 centimeter, D2 was 10 centimeter, D3 was 15 centimeter, F1 was 2 Newton, F2 was 2 Newton, and F3 was 4 Newton. Now here we will apply the principle of moment, in which the statement was like that: if a body is balanced, then sum of clockwise movement is equal to sum of anti-clockwise movement. And the rule is this, that if two weights are on left side, then we will add up their moments, and their moment sum should be equal to the moment of this force or this side. So sum of moments will be applied when 2 or 3 weights are being hanged on one side, and if there are 2 weights as well on this side, then we will also calculate the sum of moments for that side. So for this situation, now the equation will be like that: F1 d1 plus F2 d2 is equals to F3 d3. Why we have added these two moments? Because these two forces are acting on left side of the pivot. So we have to add their moments in order to find the total moment produced on left side. So value of F1 2, D1 20, F2 2, D2 10, F3 4, D3 15. 2 into 20 40, 10 into 2 20, 15 into 4 60, 40 plus 20 60, 60. So 60 Newton centimeter is equals to 60 Newton centimeter. Now you can check that we have verified the principle of moment. If 3 weights are being given, 2 weights were supposed to be hanged on left side and 1 was supposed to be hanged on the right side. So in this way we have verified the principle of moment. By using this equation we can find the missing value as well. Suppose if this will be F1 2 Newton, F2 question mark, F3 4 Newton, D1 20 centimeter, D2 10 centimeter, D3 15 centimeter. Now apply the formula over here: F1 D1 plus F2 D2 is equals to F3 D3. F1 2, D1 20, F2 was supposed to be missing, D2 was 10, F3 4, D3 15. 40 plus 10 F2 is equals to 60. 10 F2 is equals to 60 minus 40. 10 F2 is equals to 20. F2 is equals to 20 over 10. F2 is equals to 2 Newton. And we already know that the value of F2 was 2 Newton. Now I will explain principle of moment by using different examples from past papers in order to reinforce the concept. Now in order to apply the concept of principle of moment, I have chosen some example from the past paper, and we will learn that how we can apply the principle of moment in order to calculate the missing value. So first example will be here. A uniform meter rod is given of the length of 100 centimeter. A mass of 240 gram is being hanged on the left side. Pivot is at 20 centimeter. and 50 centimeter will be its center of gravity. So center of gravity or center of mass is that point where the whole weight or whole mass of the body is being acting vertically downward. So I will consider it as M2, will consider it as M1. Since in question it is required that find the mass of the rod. So where the mass of the rod will be acting? At its center of gravity, because it is of uniform thickness. So what will be the half of the 100? That will be 50 centimeter. Okay, now the distance between the pivot and the center of gravity, this will be equal to 50, this will be equal to 20. So what will be the difference? 30 centimeter. And what is the difference between the distance between these two, pivot and mass 1? That is 15 centimeter. So mass of the rod is supposed to be missing. So we will apply the formula over here. F1 D1 is equals to F2 D2, 240 into 15 is equals to M2 multiplied by 30. So when we will multiply 240 into 15, this will be equal to 3600. M2 multiplied by 30. So M2 will be equals to 3600 over 30. So mass of the rod is 120 gram. Since mass was given, so we will assume the mass while applying over here, and if Newton is given, then we will consider Newton, as in this example it is given. So in this example, how many weights are being shown in the diagram? 3. One on the left side and 2 on the right side. So we will apply the formula. First we can label it F1 D1, F2 F3. Okay, so this distance is D1 from pivot to the point where force is being applied. This distance will be D2 from pivot to the unknown force. Now very important point is there. We will never ever consider 2 meter as the perpendicular distance. 2 meter is the distance between unknown force and 6 Newton force. 2 Newton is not the perpendicular distance of 6 Newton force to the pivot. So what will be the value from the pivot to 6 Newton force? This will be equal to 2 meter. This will be equal to 2 meter. So 2 meter plus 2 meter will be equals to 4 meter. So this will be the value of D3, and this is a critical point in this calculation. Now we will apply the formula F1 D1 is equals to, since two forces are acting on right side of the pivot, so we will add up their moments. So F2 into D2 plus F3 into D3. Apply values over here. 10 multiplied by 4 is equal to F, since F2 was missing, F multiplied by 2 plus 6 multiplied by 4. Never ever write 2 over here, because 2 is the distance between unknown force and 6 Newton force. While calculating the perpendicular distance, we always consider the distance from the point where the force is being applied to the pivot, at which body is balanced. So it will be equal to 40, 2F plus 24. 2F is equal to 40 minus 24. 2F is equal to 16. F is equal to 16 over 2. And then this will be equals to 8 Newton. So what will be the value of missing force? 8 Newton. And we can verify after applying this value over here. Then the sum of these two moments will be equal to the left side moment. Now I will consider, or I will show other examples to verify the principle of moments. Okay, now we will consider example number 3 and 4. In first example, a wheelbarrow is used to shift the load from one place to another place. So diagram is given. The center of the wheel acts like as a pivot. A load is being placed in the wheelbarrow and force is being applied on the handle of the wheelbarrow in upward direction. Definitely if there will be a load, this is the load, then its weight will be acting in downward direction. So from pivot to the weight, the distance is given 70 centimeter, and from weight to the handle, the distance is given 50 centimeter. We have to find the force being applied on the handle of the wheelbarrow in order to shift that weight from one place to another place. So the total weight of the wheelbarrow, total mass of the wheelbarrow and load is given 60 kg. Since unit of weight is Newton, so first of all we have to convert this mass into Newton, and we will apply the formula W is equals to mg. I will consider it as F2 and this will be as F1. So mass is given, F1 is equal to mg, value of m was 60, value of g is 10, so F1 is equal to 600 Newton, and definitely this will be D1. From pivot to the weight, D1 is equal to 70 centimeter. What will be the value of D2? F2 is required. Now what is the value of D2? We will never ever consider this distance 50 centimeter as D2 because this is the distance between weight and the force being applied at the handle. So this can never ever be the perpendicular distance. Perpendicular distance should be always calculated from pivot. Okay, so this will be equal to from here to here. So what will be the value? This was 70 centimeter, this was 50 centimeter. When we will add up, this will make 120 centimeter. So D2 is equal to 120 centimeter. Again look at the question. Mass was given, total mass of the load and the wheelbarrow was given 60 kg. Since we are applying the formula of F1 D1, so we have to convert this mass into newtons, and we will apply the formula W is equal to mg. Value of g is given 10 Newton per kg, gravitational field strength or gravitational acceleration. So what will be the weight of load and wheelbarrow is now equal to 600 Newton, not 60 kg. D2 will be 70 plus 50, 120 centimeter. Now we will apply the formula. F1 D1 is equals to F2 D2. What is the value of F1? 600. What is the value of D1? 70. What is the value of F2? Required. What is the value of D2? 120. So 42 120F 120F is equal to 42,000. F is equal to 42,000 over 120. F is equal to, so when we will divide this, the value will be equals to 350 Newton. So in this way we have solved this question. Okay, in example number 4, a trap door is given. This is the hinge, so trap door moves like that. When trap door is being closed, a ledge is applying a force of 15 Newton on trap door in upward direction. The weight of the trap door is given at the 30 centimeter from the hinge, and in the question it is being asked that find the mass of the trap door. So this will be the D1, weight will be the F1, this will be the F2. Now what will be the D2? D2 will be 30 centimeter or 30 centimeter. D2 will be always from the hinge to the point where force is being applied. So what will be the total distance now from hinge to the force applied? It will be equal to 60 centimeter. So this will be is equals to D2. F1 is equal to W is equal to question mark. D1 is equal to 30 centimeter. D2 is equal to 60 centimeter. F2 is equals to 15 Newton. Now we will apply the formula over here. F1 D1 is equals to F2 D2. F1 is equal to W, D1 is equal to 30, F2 is equal to 15, D2 is equal to 60. Okay, W into 30 is equal to 15 into 60, 900. 30W is equal to 900 over, rather it will be equals to 900. W is equal to 900 over 30 and W is equal to 30 Newton. But we have to find the value of mass, not the weight of the trap door. So we will apply the formula here. W is equals to mg, m is equals to W over g. What is the value of W? 30. What was the value of G? Given 10, so is equals to 3 kg. So the mass of the trap door is 3. Now we will consider last 3 examples, after which the topic will be complete, and after discussing these 3 examples you will be able to attempt any type of question related to the concept of moments of force. In example number 5, there are total 3 forces. 2 forces on the left side and 1 force on the right side. But on the left side, 2 forces are being applied in such a way that 3 Newton force is acting in downward direction and force P, which is unknown force, is acting in upward direction. And 4 Newton force is also acting in downward direction but right side of the pivot. So definitely when we apply the principal moment, then we will add the moments of the 2 forces which are being applied on the left side, because according to the principal moment, what was the statement? A body is balanced if sum of clockwise movement is equal to sum of anti-clockwise movement. But now in this case, since these two forces are in opposite direction, but these forces are being applied on the left side or on the same side of the pivot, so we will apply the negative sign with each other. So I will assume it as F1, this will be as D1, this will be as F2, this will be as D2, this will be as F3, and this will be as D3. Now apply the principle of moment. F1 D1 plus F2 D2 is equals to F3 D3. Since F1 was acting in downward direction and F2, that is P, was acting in upward direction, so these two forces were opposite in direction, so we will apply negative sign over here in order to show their direction. Now apply the values over here. F1 was 3 Newton, it was 6 centimeter, F2 was equals to P, D2 was equals to 2, F3 was equals to 4, D3 was equals to 2. Solve this. 18 with negative sign minus 2P is equal to 8. 18 is equal to 8 plus 2P. 2P is equals to 18 minus 8. 2P is equals to 10. P is equals to 10 over 2, and therefore P is equals to 5 Newton. So in this way, the force of 5 Newton was applied in upward direction in order to balance the rod on the pivot. So again, I am just telling you one important point. When two forces are in opposite direction, then a negative sign will be applied over here. Or if in a question it is being asked that its movement is negative, then it means that on one side forces are always in opposite direction. Now in next question, two forces are given in downward direction and one force is in upward direction. So we will add up the moments of these two forces, which will be equal to the moment of that force. We will name these forces F1, this will be F2, this will be F3. We will mark the distance. This will be D1. Now make sure this cannot be D2, because distance is always calculated from pivot. So D2 will be from here to here, and this was equal to 10 centimeter, this was equal to 10 centimeter. So 10 plus 10 is equal to 20 centimeter. So D2 is equal to 20 centimeter. This will be equal to D3 and F3 will be there. So now apply the formula. F1 D1 plus F2 D2 is equals to F3 D3. F1 2, D1 10, F2 4, D2. Now D2 will be not 10 centimeter, D2 will be 20 centimeter, because distance will be always calculated from the point where force is being applied to the pivot, is equals to U multiplied by 40. 10 into 2, 20 plus 4 into 20, 80 is equal to 40U, 80 plus 20, 100 is equals to 40U, U is equals to 100 over 40 is equals to 2.5 Newton. So in this way we have calculated that upward force acting on this rod in order to balance this will be 2.5 Newton. Again, this will be equal to 10 centimeter, 2 multiplied by 10. Both will be 20 centimeter multiplied by 4, and U F3 or U will be multiplied by 40. So 20, 80 is equal to 40U, 100 is equal to 40U, and U is equal to 100 over 40, and when we will solve, the answer will be 2.5 Newton. Now the next MCQ is very interesting MCQ. In this MCQ, number 1, we have to tell the value of X in newtons. What will be the value of X being applied on this side? And number 2, in which direction the force will be applied. There are two possibilities. Either force X will be applied in upward direction or in downward direction. So by solving this MCQ, we can tell the force will be in upward direction or downward direction. If positive sign will be there, then force will be in downward direction, and if negative sign will be there, force will be in upward direction. Okay, on right side, we calculate the moment of right side is equal to 8 into 2 is equals to 16 meter, Newton meter. Now we will calculate moment for this. Moment of left side for 12 Newton. It will be equal to 25 Newton meter. Now if we have to balance this rod, on left side it is 24 Newton, on right side it is 16 Newton meter. Left side 24 Newton meter, on right side it is 16 Newton meter. So we will calculate the difference. 16 minus 24 is equals to 8 Newton meter. So now what is the sign of that? Negative 8 Newton meter. Its mean larger moment was over here, smaller moment was there. So in order to balance this, we have to cancel the excessive moment produced by 12 Newton. So definitely this negative sign shows that now force will be opposite to this 12 Newton. Again, look at here. The moment on the right side was 16 Newton meter. The moment for 12 Newton force at the distance of 2 meter was 24 Newton meter. So it means on left side larger or excessive moment is there. So in order to decrease that moment, we have to apply the force in opposite direction, and the difference between 16 and 24 Newton meter is negative 8 Newton meter. So we have to apply the force in upward direction. Now 8 Newton meter. So negative sign has decided that we have to apply the force in upward direction. Now total moment was 8 Newton meter. Okay. Moment is equal to 8 Newton meter. Distance is equal to, now from point X to pivot, this will be the distance. So this is equal to 2 meter plus 2 meter, that is 4 meter. Don't do mistake over here, that never ever consider it 2 meter, since force X is applied on the left side of the rod. So from pivot to point X, total perpendicular distance will be 4 meter. So it will be 4 meter. Now we have to find the force. So what is the formula of moment? Is equal to F multiplied by D. This was 8 is equal to F multiplied by 4. So F is equal to 8 by 4, F is equal to 2 Newton. So 2 Newton force is applied in which direction? In upward direction. So I hope that now this topic is clear to all of you and you will be able to understand the concept of principle of moments in a very good way. The last topic which we will cover in this unit is stability. Stability means how the body is stable. Stability depends on two factors. Number one, it depends on the base area of the body, and number two, it depends on the position of center of mass or position of center of gravity. The larger the base area of the body, the larger will be the stability, and the smaller the base area of the body, the lesser will be the stability. For example, if I am having this box with me, now this area which is in contact with earth is the lesser area, so it will be less stable as compared to if I am going to place the box like this. Now in this case, the more area will be in contact with the earth and stability will be more. Likewise, stability also depends on the factor of the position of center of mass or the center of gravity. Let's suppose if I am going to consider the body placed in this way, then almost its center of gravity, position of center of gravity from my hand is 1 centimeter, as compared to if I am going to place the box like this, then more or less its center of gravity from my hand is 4 centimeter. So what do you think? What do you suggest? Now you can see if I am moving my hand, then it is going to be topple over very quickly. So it is unstable, least stable. But if I am going to place the box like this, now I am going to shake my hand, then it is going to be stable. So from this example we have concluded that stability of the body depends on two factors. Number one, it depends on the base area, and number two, it depends on the position of center of mass of the body or position of center of gravity of the body. Larger the base area, larger will be the stability. Least the base area, least will be the stability. For position of center of mass, if position of center of mass is nearer to earth, then the body will be more stable, and if position of center of mass is moving away or the distance from the earth and the position of center of gravity is more, then the body will be unstable. If we are going to look at these examples, these three boxes, in these boxes the base area is going to be larger and larger. So this will be least stable, this will be more stable, and this will be most stable. In this example, center of gravity of all these three bodies are at equal distance or having the same center of gravity, or position of center of gravity is the same. So entirely now the stability depends on the base of the body. So least stable, more stable and most stable. In another example, what I have done, I have placed these boxes in a vertical way. So now we can see that the base area is the same. In this example, position of center of gravity was the same, but base area was different. In this example, base area is the same, which is touching with the earth, but now the position of center of gravity is going to be changed. So this will be nearer to earth, it is bit far apart from the earth, and the distance of the position of center of gravity or center of mass for this object is the highest from the earth. So according to the concept, this will be most stable, it will be stable, and it will be least stable. So if we will apply the force to all these three boxes or three objects, then this will be topple over. Very first, because it will be least stable, this will be minute topple over, and most probably the body will remain at its position after toppling or after disturbing. Another example from daily life is that if there are two cars, rather we are considering one car, it's BMW, and I am considering a double-decker bus as well. So there is a double-decker bus like this. This is the steering, this is the driver, these are the wheels. It's my own double-decker bus. So its center of gravity will be most probably here, and the center of gravity of double-decker bus will be most probably will be here. So what do you think? What do you suggest? While turning on the roundabout or on the circular path, chances of which vehicle of toppling overs are more? So definitely double-decker bus might will topple over while turning around the circular path or around the roundabout, because its center of gravity is higher as compared to this car, so it will be least stable and it will be more stable as compared to cars which we are using in our daily life and the cars which are being used for races purposes. Have you ever observed that the size or the height of the racing cars is very less as compared to the cars which we use in our daily life? The reason is that those cars are supposed to be more stable, because those cars has to be run at a very higher speed and around a zigzag path over the racing track. So their engines are going to be lower down as low as possible to increase their stability. And number two, the cars which we are using in our daily life, the width of the tire as compared to the cars which we are using for races purposing. So the width of the tire of racing car is larger as compared to the width of the tire which we are using in our daily life is smaller. So those racing cars attain more stability due to the both two reasons. Number one, wider the base area of the tires, they are more stable, and number two, their center of gravity is lower, so they are more stable. Now we will consider another example, and this example will help us to decide that when force is applied on the body, then after removal of that force, whether body will topple over or not. For this purpose, I have considered two blocks of same dimensions. Same dimensions mean their height is same as well as their base area is same. capital G represents the position of center of gravity for both of the blocks. Now what I have done, that I have tilted these two boxes at different orientations. This was initially in this position and I have tilted this block in this position. This part of the block is the base. Now I will draw the position of center of gravity once again at tilted position. Now you can see that after tilting the body, the line which represents the position of center of gravity is still passing through the base of the body. So it means when force is removed, the body will rotate in clockwise direction and will attain its original position, or body will stable, or in other words, body will not topple over. In another diagram, I have tilted the body more than this one. So again, this will be the base of the body. Now again, I am going to draw the position of center of gravity. Now you can easily see that this was the base of the body, and now the line which is representing the position of center of gravity or position of center of mass is not passing through the base. It has crossed the base of the body. So it means that when force will be removed, the body will rotate in anti-clockwise direction and will topple over and will never ever supposed to be back on its original position. So some questions are being asked in the examination, that how a body will be in stable position. For that we have to draw the line to represent its position of center of gravity. If that line is passing through the base, the body will not topple over, and if line is crossing or line has crossed the base, then body will topple over. So in this way we are able to complete the unit number 5. I hope so that now you are able to learn and you are able to grab the concepts in order to solve any unseen questions being asked from this unit. If there are any questions regarding any concept of this chapter or this unit, you may write in comments and I will reply. Assalamu alaikum.